Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jumping Frenchmen podcast. My name is Joe Olette. I have such a good episode lined up for y'all today. Stories about haunted taverns and mansions and more await you as I take a look at Cumberland County and the haunts within. There are 16 counties in Maine, and we are counting down the 16 weeks leading up to Halloween. We've already done New York County, and today we head a little further north to Cumberland County. Cumberland County was founded on November 1st, 1760. As of 2010 census, a population of 281,674 people, with the most recent estimate being 295,003 people, making it Maine's most populated county. It also, as of July 11th, has the most haunted places written down in my notes as any other county. So without further ado, let's head to Jameson Tavern. Jameson Tavern was built in 1779 as the home for Dr. John Angler Hyde until 1801 when it was purchased by Captain Samuel Jameson, who started to run it as a tavern. And it is said that the papers that separated Maine from Massachusetts were signed in the same tavern. It is also a stop for many famous people on their way to Bowdoin College, including Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, John Greenleaf Whittier, and Franklin Pierce, the 14th President of the United States. It's been home to many important moments in history, but also the home of a restless spirit or two. While some places I have researched more or less hide their haunted history, Jameson Tavern has a special page for it on its impeccable website. A long time ago, back when the tavern was just a residence, there was a fire, and according to legend, a little girl named Emily lost her life in the attic. Emily's spirit is friendly and in many stories very playful. One famous story is one day a little girl was playing with a ball alone under the table when suddenly she said, "Give me my ball back, Emily." The little girl had no knowledge of Emily. People have also reported seeing little girls dressed around corners in the dining room and a girl herself running around upstairs. I think, if anything, this little girl didn't get much of a chance to play around when she was living and is making up for it internationally. She made a believer out of one waiter when he went to fetch some Christmas decorations and, quote, "I got like a playful feeling." He turned around and saw a small, ghostly figure that quickly went away with a gust of wind. That's genuinely chilling. Absolutely chilling. Emily also threw a jar of toothpicks at that very same waiter. I don't know if he still works there, but Emily seemed to like him. If you're ever in Freeport, stop by the birthplace of Maine for $4 house wines, $4 draft beers, and the playful spirit of a little girl taken too soon. Haunted mansions are a staple trope in the horror/folklore genre. And for good reason. There are a lot of real-life examples of haunted mansions, and sometimes they are right next to each other and haunted by the same spirits. I'm talking about the McClellan Sweathouse and the Charles Clapp House in Portland, Maine. Let's go there now. The two houses were built during Portland's golden age from 1800 to 1860. Portland was recovering from the Revolutionary War, while at the same time merchant and shipping companies were thriving. The owners of those companies would then build mansions, and one of those wealthy merchants was Hugh McClellan, who in 1800 bought land at the corner of Spring Street and High Street and put a house costing $20,000 on it. That's $431,263.49 today. The house was a three-story federal-style building designed by architect John Kimball Sr. Everything was great for the McClellan family until about 1807. Two things changed the McClellan luck forever. First, Miss McClellan passed away, and second, the Embargo Act of 1807 was signed into law, slowly killing Hugh's business until about 1817, when the tax man at the door, Hugh McClellan, sold the house to Captain Asa Clapp for just $4,050. Clapp then turned around and gave the house to his son Charles as a wedding present. 12 years later, Charles Quincy Clapp bought the lot next to the McClellan house, giving the McClellan house to his father-in-law, and built his own mansion. They also haunted Charles Clapp House. a Greek revival mansion. However, Charles would run into financial troubles of his own in 1837 during the financial crisis and ended up selling the house back to his father and moving back to the McClellan house after his father-in-law passed away in 1843. Confused yet? Me too. But the passing along of the house ends soon because Charles lived with his wife at that house until they passed, and it was handed down to their daughters who sold the house to Senator Colonel Lorenzo de Medici Sweat and his wife Margaret Jane Sweat. Margaret loved preservation and also helping renovate Mount Vernon. She even made renovations of her own to her new home, careful not to mess with the actual structure of the house. She put in a Victorian wallpaper, a door between the library and the dining room, as well as a French carved oak over the fireplaces, a Greek ceiling, and a chair rail. When her husband died, she changed her will to give the house to the Portland Society of Art, under the stipulation that no changes be made to the exterior of the home or the furnishings inside. Unfortunately, those promises were not kept by the Portland Society of Art, which is why many speculate that Margaret haunts the house she once lived in. And Asa Clapp had also been seen watching over both of his old houses. Unfortunately, as mentioned in my previous episode and earlier in this one, places like this don't like ghost hunters snooping around in their art exhibits, so there isn't much of a history to in the McClellan house. But a ghostly presence can be felt in the Clapp house. One male, the other female. It is believed Captain Asa Clapp watches over his other properties because one he had before the Greek mansion over on Congress Street was torn down. The ghostly presence is probably his wife, who is upset by the changes to the building. If you ever visit these two places, browse the art and the architecture of these beautiful houses, and don't tell them I sent you, and try not to upset the old tenants. And I take you to the coastal town of Harpswell, Maine. The fictional home of Carol Danvers, better known as Captain Marvel, and portrayed by Brie Larson in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is also the not-so-fictional home of a ghost ship. The Dead Ship of Harpswell, as it is called, has many conflicting stories. Sometimes there's 4 masts, other times there's just 2. But it's always at full sail and heading straight towards land, but never comes to port, turning around just before crashing. The dead ship has been seen from Lookout Point and Potts Point, as well as the islands Bailey and Oars. It is said to harbor bad tidings, and when it is seen by someone in Harpswell, someone dies. In one story, as it is coming in, the watcher looks through an eyeglass to see no one is on the ship, and as it is about to crash into the shore, it just seems to turn around into the mist. Sailors are reported jumping off their deck of their own ships after seeing it. There are 2 ships that could be this famous dead ship. One being the Dash, which was made in Freeport in 1813. The Dash was a top ship schooner and was made to haul cargo to the West Indies. It was in the wartime, however, so the Dash was fitted with guns. In 1815, the ship was allegedly in a race against another ship, but was hit with a winter gale and never seen again. Or was it? So next time you are in Harpswell, don't look out to sea. It may just be the last thing you ever do. And that will have to do it for this episode. I have plenty more stories, but I ran out of them while writing because I'm learning how to drive. That's right, folks. Better late than never, I guess. But this leads itself to a big announcement. I'm working on making some video spin-offs for the show, and one of them is tentatively titled Getting There From Here, where I choose a starting point and drive to a famous Maine location or landmark, telling fun facts and stories along the way. You can help fund projects like this and many others right now by joining my Patreon, as well as exclusive content and the show a full 24 hours earlier than public. Please don't feel like you have to join my Patreon. If it's not feasible for you, I really don't mind. You can help the show grow just by spreading the word, and if you have any stories you want told, contact the Jumping Frenchmen podcast Facebook page or email us at neatmooseproductions@gmail.com. Links to both are in the description, as well as sources and links for the episode. Next episode will be Androscoggin County, so get ready for that. My name is Joelette, and this has been the Jumping Frenchmen podcast. I love all of you. Have a wicked friggin' awesome day, Bubs. Mwah. Bye-bye.